Happy Saturday. Oh, the birds are making lots of racket today. Hello, hello. Welcome in. Happy Saturday. I don't know why my volume was all the way down. Hey, Sarah. Hi, everybody. Happy Saturday. Hi, welcome in, welcome in. I am checking in with you guys. I hadn't been on here in I think it's been like 10 days. So I just wanted to come in and check in with everyone, see how you guys are doing. Hello, hello. The birds are awful loud this morning. Or this afternoon. It's already noon. Already noon. Oh. Hello, welcome in. Happy Saturday. I'm going to talk to you guys about protection today. Get a little discussion started about protection, spiritual protection, and making sure that you're keeping those things up, right? And that we're not just letting them fall by the wayside, because spiritual protection is literally the first thing that we should be learning on the spirituality path, because not everybody is who they say they are. And when we are dealing in the spiritual arena and we're coming in contact with different people with different practices, we have to make sure that we are protected and we have our energy covered, secured, and sealed, so that we don't run into problems. We don't run into drama unnecessarily. So yeah, that's what I want to talk to you guys about today, is some protection. I hope you guys are having a great beginning of May. I put up a ritual yesterday to help anybody who is looking to ensure that their bills are paid for the month. Hey, friend. Oh, hey, Avery. Hey, Nikki. Yeah, you caught me. So that ritual's up. You can do it on tomorrow on the first Sunday. Y'all already know cinnamon and all of those things. Thank you. I just encourage y'all to look at alternatives, right? Like, of course, you can blow cinnamon in your door. Everybody and their mama's doing that. You can also stand in your door and declare the goodness that will and must come into your home. There are a ton of things that you can do if you don't have like the physical things, right? You don't have the candles, you don't have the cinnamon, you don't have the this. You can actually just stand flat foot and declare that these things must happen in your home. These opportunities must show up. The money must do this, all of these things, right? Thank you for liking the live. So that's one of the things. Hey, TC. So that's one of the things I like to remind people, is to not get too dependent on these things, as they are tools, right? These are all tools to assist our conscious mind in thinking that we're doing something, right? But the reality of the situation is, this is all you need. And this is all you need. When this is in alignment, when what you see in your mind's eye and what you speak in your mouth lines up, and you continue to repeat it and see it and repeat it and see it until you physically see it manifest, that is the most powerful thing that you can possibly do. And with talking like what I wanted to talk about today, which was about protection, because the ancestors have really been on my head about protection, right? Clock it. They've really been on my head about protection, because it's very trendy, right, to be in spirituality right now. Everybody and their mama wants to read tarot. Everybody and their mama is a medium. Everybody and their mama, especially, my God, today, after that amazing movie Sinners, people think it's a joke. They think it's a movie. This is not Hollywood. Dealing in, spiritual practices, magical practices, it's not a game, right? And that is where people are getting jacked up, is that they think it's a game. They think this is funny. Especially when you're talking about spirits of the deceased, right? Exactly. When you're talking about spirits and people who are on the other side, who have the ability to do things that are out of your control, You really need to have your spiritual protection up. You really need to have some spiritual discernment. You really need to have some type of mentor or something to help guide you along the way. One of the reasons why they've been on my head about pushing protection, is because they said people are picking up spirits and they don't even realize that they're picking them up. And these spirits have been attached to them. They are eating and feeding, and the person doesn't even know that that's why they're tired. That's why they're sad. That's why their money suddenly messed up. And this is easier said, easy to do, right? It's easy to pick them up. I'm choosing my words carefully. It's easy to pick them up, right? It comes from a whole myriad of things, but I'll use this as an example. People who go from one tarot card reader to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, okay? No reader has the exact same path as another. There are spirits that I work with that others would not work with. There are spirits that some work with that I don't gel with. But when you go to someone for a reading, right, you're giving them permission to not only look into your life and see what's going on, but you're opening yourself up, right, to be subject, right? And that is why it is important to ask your ancestors, say a prayer, ask the divine, ask God, if this is somebody that I should really go get a reading from. Because when you're opening yourself up and you don't have your spiritual protection in place, these things can hang around, right? And in most families, right? Especially African-American, they're not doing ancestral veneration. So if somebody's Uncle Joe's been gone for 20 years and nobody in his family is venerating him, but you go get a reading from somebody in his family and you're leaving food out all the time, Uncle Joe gonna keep showing up because you're venerating. There's food at your house. There's candles at your house. There's prayers at your house. So I say all that to say, make sure you're keeping your spiritual protection up. Make sure that you are saying the intentions, the incantations. You are lighting your candles. Psalms 91, Psalms 23, outside of the Bible, just being able to say mantras. There are protection mantras and mudras, right? It does not have to be the Bible. We have decolonized from the meaning of the Bible. We understand that it is not the infallible word of God, but a collection of stories taken from different cultures throughout time in order to maintain a level of control, right? So it does not have to come from that. And besides, the Psalms goes way back further than what they tell you. The Psalms are actually songs that go all the way back to a Sumerian goddess, Inanna, and how they used to pray to the goddesses was by song, right? So it didn't even really belong to David. It was acquired by him. But anyway, we're not here for that. The point is, you need to have a set of routines for your spiritual protection, right? Whether it is calling in your angels, whether it is saying psalms, whether it is saying mantras, right? Whether it is using mudras. If you do not know what mudras are, they are hand motions or like this. Like you see people who do like this or whatever. There are different mudras. I can't do both of them because I'm holding the phone with the other hand. And mudras help create an energy, right? So they can create an energy of protection. You can do your own protection candles. You can do a black candle or a white candle with some olive oil. Speak the intention that protection is around you. You can call in Archangel Michael for protection. He does not play. And I speaking of Archangel Michael, I don't know what has made people feel so common with him. Right? It's like they seem to forget that he is a warrior, right? He does not play. He is not a soft angel. He is the angel of protection, and not in the fun, love, and light way that people like to talk. Yeah, FAFO, for real. Like he does not play. He also does not play about children. So if there is ever an issue that you're having with your kids, and you need him to come in and add protection to that, he will do it swiftly. Same with Archangel Metatron, can create fields of protection around you and your children, you and your family, right? So learning these different things, these different layers of protection around your home, right? Making your own protection powders out of herbs, out of different things. You can use iron, you can use all sorts of things, black salt. You can walk around your house and speak protection. Again, you do not need the things, but the ancestors have been really saying is don't forget it. Don't forget the protection step, right? We'll do the ritual, we'll do this, but are we calling protection in every day? Are we every day when we walk out the door? Because of the way that, especially here in America, things are going and society is moving, you need daily protection, right? The Kabbalistic prayer of protection, look it up. And Kabbalistic is spelled with a Q and a U. The prayer that protects you for 24 hours. Pray it every day. Calling your angels every day. This is the thing about angels. Angels cannot and will not infringe upon your free will. They could have all the answers. They could be able to prevent all the things, but unless you invite them in to assist you, unless you ask them for their assistance, they will not do it. Hey, Jess. So you've got to get into the habit of calling these things in. Calling in your protection every day, especially around your children. Even if you don't have kids, if you're the auntie, uncle, and you got nieces and nephews, call in protection for them babies. There is such a target on them right now. Thank you. There is such a target on the children right now. And why? Because the children are going to dictate the direction of society. So if they can get to their minds early enough, if they can cause them to not feel that they're valued early enough, if they can harm them or create trauma in them early enough, then the way in which society will go will totally change in the future. So cover your babies, cover your nieces, cover your nephews, okay? Because they need it. They need it. They don't need to be programmed, but they definitely need to be protected. So ensure that you are actively auntying and uncling and momming and dadding because they need you. They need you right now. Going through what we're going through as a society here in the West, we have certain things that we really need to pay attention to. Protection is one. Ensuring that provision is set for us and our family through constant work, right? You're doing the workings for the provision. You're doing the workings for the prosperity and the things of that nature on a consistent basis. I hear somebody coming. Mommy's on live, okay?
I'm hungry.
You're hungry? Okay. Tell daddy, mommy's on live, okay?
Can I give you a hug?
Off camera.
Okay.
Hold on, guys. Somebody needs a hug. Hurry up, sweetheart. I know, right? Avery, you know. You know your niece. All right. Oh, stay right there. Mwah. Love you.
Okay.
All right, bye. So like I was saying, make sure your protection's up. Make sure you're constantly doing your provision work. You don't wait until the bill is due to ask spirit to intervene. Okay? We need to be constantly doing that. I don't care how much money you have. You can always have more, right? So you've got to constantly do that. I tell my students, do your money work every week. I don't care if you're bringing in $10,000 a week. You could take 20, could you not? And that's not being greedy. That's just having a forethought of like things show up, things happen, the cars mess up, the water heater may break, this may happen, that may happen. And if you've been doing the money workings every week, if you've been declaring and calling in the finances, whether you light a candle or not, then it'll be there, right? And you don't have to panic because the energy will have built up. You won't have to start from zero. The energy will already be built up enough for you to have what you need. It'll already be in place. It's like a spiritual savings account, right? Thanks for that. That's why a lot of people feel like their ancestors don't answer them. Their spiritual savings account is zero, negative. There's so many people that have heard about ancestral veneration, right? And they walk around, they say that, oh, my ancestors don't play about me and all of this stuff, right? And then they immediately go into asking for things, not realizing not only do they not have the experience to know how to ask for these things, their ancestors aren't even strong enough to give them to them. If you've been forgotten, if you've not been thought about or poured into in the last 20 or 30 years that you've been passed, then where are you going to get the strength to do anything for your descendant? Where are you pulling it from? There's nowhere to pull it from. And that's why you have to build a relationship. I didn't think we were taking this turn, but we're taking this turn because they're talking about building a relationship with your ancestors. We're having ancestor hangout for the month of May. I think it's the 24th. And we had one in April, but it did not record. And apparently the ancestors who came through during that session were not into being recorded. And it was a time. It was good. But that entire 2.5 hours, nothing was recorded. I know I hit record on that session. I always do. And that is because those ancestors did not want to be recorded. It's the same thing with like our family, right? When you're building a relationship with your ancestors, not everybody's going to want their picture displayed. Not everybody's going to like sweet potatoes. Not everybody's going to want fried chicken. Some of your ancestors are of an earth nature, and they just may want essences like incense and water because they are so far removed from their human experience that they have evolved past the need of food. That's why veneration looks different for everyone. And the main point of veneration is acknowledgement, energy, and consistency. It's not about the food, right? The food is cool for the recent ones who are still attached to that human experience. But the further away they are, the less attached to that they are. The older they are, right? Like the originals, the ones from the beginning, they're not concerned about fried chicken. They're really not. What they're concerned about is where you are here and here. And if you have really chosen to step into your own personal power. Do you know what I'm saying? That's the thing that matters to them, that you consistently sit, acknowledge them, and ask for that higher wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. That's building a relationship with them. That's what's important to them. So what I'm hearing too is to stop beating up yourself because your practice doesn't look like someone else's. Stop beating up yourself because the way you practice doesn't look like someone else. It is a personal spiritual journey. It is personal. You do not have to share it with me, your mama, your cousin, or your friend. It is your journey. It is your soul's journey. You came back in this lifetime to do it how you see fit. That is the biggest problem with religion. It tries to make everybody do something the same. We are not the same. We are not. The way I do it may not work for you. That's why there are only certain rituals that I share because these are across the board. I've seen this work for 1,100 people. So I know this one isn't just subject to my success, right? It's kind of like if it rains, the plant is going to grow. Those are the ones I share, the ones that I've seen work for everybody. I can't share everything. You can't share everything because some of the stuff that worked for me won't work for you, and some of the things that work for you won't work for me. You've got to start looking at your spiritual journey and your spiritual practice as cooking, right? Think about like a holiday, right? How one person makes dressing versus how somebody else makes dressing is not the same. Tastes totally different. They may call it the same, but the ingredients are different and the result is different. So pray about some of these things. And I don't mean pray in the Christian sense of like, I'm begging, I'm asking. What I mean by praying is closing your eyes and becoming centered in silence and speaking to your spirit team and asking for an intuitive
nudge and confirmation, right? That's what I'm talking about. Before you do some of these things, stop just picking up random things off of the internet and taking them and doing them, because as they said in the beginning, some people are picking up spirits and these spirits are draining them because they don't even realize that that's what's happening. I tell people when they come to me and they're like, oh, I'm interested in coaching, I'm interested in this, and I'm like, okay, take a beat, talk to your team, and then let me know. Because if you don't get confirmation from your folks, that they might not like me, right? Not everybody's people likes Keisha. I think I'm pretty cool, but not everybody. I don't gel with everybody. I may not be the person for you. I may not be the coach for you. I just had a student, she's in week 3. And when she called me, she said, okay, I got quiet. I sat with my people. You're where I'm supposed to be. And clearly it is, because the information is flowing. Because at the center of all that I do, it is my connection with your spiritual team, where I'm able to tap in and find out where the healing needs to occur, and then get the prescription and then show you how to do it, right? I am not the one that's prescribing anything. Your spiritual team is. I'm working with your ancestors, your spirit guides, your angels, and I'm helping you to identify who they are so that you can do this on your own. Because one thing I will not do ever is create a situation where you're going to be dependent on me forever. First of all, I don't have the energy, okay? I'm tired. I don't have the energy. But 2, the whole purpose in this is for you to become spiritually independent, confident, and be able to navigate through the days and times of your life without worrying about needing anyone. Yes, you can reach out. Yes, you can be like, I need that confirmation, or I would like that confirmation, but does it mean that you need it? Do you know what I'm saying? So anybody will tell you that have ever been my student, over time, you really need me. They stay in touch because we cool, but they could do it themselves. And that's why it's important to build a relationship with your spiritual team. Because even when you're getting a reading from myself or anyone else, there can be a couple of things that are like, ooh, I didn't see that. But for the most part, a good 75% of that session should be confirmation. Hey, Tanya. It should be confirmation for what you already know, right? When you hear it, you be like, I knew that. If the whole reading is a, oh my gosh, I didn't see any of that, more than likely, baby, that's not true. Exactly. Yeah, that's because I'm of the thought, right? Even being a psychic, even talking to spirits, even all of this, I should never know more about you than you know about yourself. I'm very uncomfortable with that. Because how, Sway? You live with you every day. How I know more about you than you? And if you feel like somebody knows you better than you know yourself, you need to hit pause on all of this and take some time with self and sit down with yourself. Do some journaling with yourself. Find out what food you like, all of these things, because no psychic medium, no psychic, no one should be able to tell you more about you than you know about you. That's a very dangerous place to be. Because if you feel like they know you better than you know you, they can also give you false information and feed you and drain you. Self-awareness is the highest awareness. Absolutely. Because then they can drain you, they can manipulate you, they can do all of those things to cause you to do what works for them. That's where you hear the stories about the, TC said that's 100. Thanks, Tanya. That's the thing where you hear people saying, well, she paid this worker, $300 and then $500 and $1,000. And this is the thing, it's not about the money. It's about the fact that if you're spending that kind of money, your life should do a whole 180, right? You need to go from unemployed to employed, even though it don't take all of that. But do you get what I'm saying? Like, there should be a whole flipping change in your reality. But what you usually hear is that it's draining and draining and draining, and then there's no change. Where is the change? Where's the proof? There should be a change in your life. If it still looks the same, if nothing is getting any better, if you're not making any more money, if you don't feel any happier, if you're not, you know what I'm saying, then what's the point? Nobody is lighting these candles and saying these prayers and meditating and all of these things for nothing. That's the number one deterrent from people coming from religion to spirituality. Because in religion, right, you blame God for this, you blame the devil for that, but what are you responsible for? Nothing. When you come over to spirituality, you're responsible for everything. You got to do the shadow work to figure out why you make the bad decisions. You got to do the manifestation to make the things change. You got to venerate the ancestors to stay connected to self. It's a lot of work over here. And most people don't want to do the work. They just want to be told, okay, this is what's going to happen and all of my mistakes are going to be forgiven. And no, you got to figure out where you've messed up and then turn. Growing, they should be true counselors to grow. Yeah. Yeah. You have to take accountability. And that's the biggest thing here. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. Do I have temper tantrums? Yes, I do. And that's a part of being real with yourself. Like, nobody's perfect. And knowing like we're in a journey. It is a spiritual journey. It is not a spiritual sprint. We're going to be doing this until the day that we die. It's okay if it doesn't make sense at times. It's okay if you're tired and you need to take a break at times. Your ancestors are not looking at you like this. They're more looking at you like this. Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. Because I have heard it from multiple people's ancestors where they're telling their descendants, thank you for doing this work. Because if it was up to them, it wouldn't have gotten done. Because they wouldn't have done any of this. To hop over that hurdle of fear into even trying this for a lot of people is very, very big. Especially when nobody else is doing it. And then you can't even talk to people about this. Because who you gonna talk to and tell them that your grandfather, who been dead since 1992, told you not to take that job and it worked out for you? They put you in a crazy house because they don't understand. So that's the other thing. It can be very isolating. So make sure that you're like finding some avenue of community, whether it be YouTube or someone here or a Patreon or a friend. You have to have some type of community where you're able to get these things out, where you can talk about them, say it to somebody, text it to somebody, because it's naturally isolating. Because the experiences that you have, you can't just talk to anybody because they won't understand. So that's understandable. But back to the original, before they got me off track, setting up a relationship with them, right? So when you're talking about setting up a relationship with them, you are talking about consistently getting to know them over time. This isn't a sprint. This isn't a sprint. You can't learn this all at one time. You should not know all of this at one time. This information has to come in timing where you're prepared for it and you can mentally handle it, right? You have to be able to mentally handle the information when it comes. That's also why we don't recruit in spirituality. If a friend of mine is still going to church, that's great, honey. That's what your spirit needs. Keep going. Just because it doesn't resonate with me anymore doesn't mean I'm going to demonize you for what you believe. So we let people live how they live. Hey, Deidre. I'm happy to see you too, sweetheart. That's how, you let people live it how they live it, because they may not be able to handle it. That's how you see people going into spiritual psychosis. Most people's spiritual beliefs are what is the framework that their entire life is built around, right? And so if you go in and you try to remove that framework, you have a collapse. And they may not have any way to be caught. They may not have that safety net. And now you don't cause somebody to have a mental breakdown because you wanted to tell them the truth. This is the truth. Make sure that you don't bring that religious spirit of having to show people the way once you have your awakening. It's not your job. It's not my job. I don't argue with people. I don't have time. And it's not my journey. If that's what you believe, that's great. But I've come to a different understanding. And I feel like that elder, and I can't remember his name, He's since crossed over, and y'all have all seen him. He was an older black man. He had gray hair. And he said, once you look through those goggles, you can't unsee it. Once you've come to a different understanding, I cannot sit on a front row in a church service and pretend to clap and say hallelujah. Because I don't believe anything that's coming from the pulpit. Because I've come to a different understanding of that book that you're teaching from. I've come to a different understanding of this entire situation, organization. So I cannot, in good faith, sit here and pretend to say amen. And that is how it has to be in your life. When things no longer fit, move around. You don't have to pretend to agree. Just make yourself less available. And I promise you this, the closer you get to your ancestors, the more confident you're going to be in who you are, regardless of who agrees and doesn't agree. Because if it's one thing that the elders are not, is apologetic for who they are. They lived their life. They went through hard times. A lot of them overcame and thrived, built businesses, homes, families. He learned how to heal themselves. So the stronger they become, the stronger you become. This is a self-love journey. You're the first person who should be venerated. And that's why ancestral veneration is so strengthening, because it's making you stop and do something for your bloodline, for your lineage, which in turn is going to make you stronger, your descendants stronger, your cousins stronger. You're placing that protection that they said in the beginning that we really needed to work on. You're protecting your entire family. It can literally be the difference between everybody in your family had a certain problem, right? Let's do it like this. Every male in the family had been locked up. And suddenly, you've been doing this for a good 5-10 years, you realize nobody has gone to jail. Because you've broken that curse. Because you're doing what your ancestors told you to do, even when it didn't make sense. Because doing what they tell you to do, even when it doesn't make sense, just means that it's exclusive to your family. You could be taking a walk and hear an ancestor say, pick that up, take that home, pray over that, leave it at the front door. Not even realize what herb you done picked up in order to lay protection over your house. Things are happening so fast right now that we have whiplash. There's so many videos on TikTok where they're like, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. You've been broke your neck. Every time we got to pay attention. No, we don't have time for that. That is why you take care of you and your square. Stay hydrated, stay connected, do what you got to do to make sure that you're good and your family's good. Get your protection up and keep it moving. Spirit's not going to let you be caught off guard, but you cannot consistently feed at the fountain of negativity and chaos and keep your mind. That's a part of it. Cut it off. I had a good girlfriend of mine. I check in with them and I said, how are you doing mentally? She works for the government. How are you doing? How are you hanging in there? She said, I only listen to the news as satire and comedy. She said, so that I don't get heavy laden. And I only check in once a week to find out what happened. Because she said a lot of this was avoidable. And I cannot sacrifice myself for the peace and the whole of the good any longer. And I agree, 1,000%. I heard the elders say the other day, remove yourself from the altar. Your sacrifice is no longer needed. It is time for you to build up. It is time for you to experience. It is time for you to live. You are owed this. This is your inheritance. Your joy is your inheritance. Your happiness is your inheritance. Your abundance is your inheritance. Thank you, Avery. So accept it. Call it in. Step into it. Don't accept anything less. Just don't accept it. Nope, I don't subscribe to that. Unsubscribe. Not going to follow because you don't have to. It's time to reprogram your algorithm. What am I talking about? The algorithm of your life. Instead of saying all the time, if it's not one thing, it's another. Instead of saying, I can never have anything nice, how about you start saying, everything always works out for me? At whatever I touch turns to gold. Cash finds me no matter where I am. I am always walking into money, opportunity, and abundance. My health is the best that it has ever been. I am of a clear mind and guidance. I am completely aligned with everything that I want, feel, see, and desire. Change it. Change how you talk about yourself. I said that the other day because an elder in an ancestral reading broke that down and said that the scripture that said, man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God. She said, did you forget your God? So what's coming out of your mouth? And I said, ooh, and ooh, okay. Watch what you're speaking over yourself. Not allowing yourself to succumb to what you see, but to elevate to what you know. And knowing that the reason why you even want this stuff is because you already have it. This is the thing. Somebody, I don't know what session this week, but we talked about that because I was like, let me break that down for you. Because when people say what you want, you already have, it's because we're all living in several different timelines at one time, right? We're living in several different timelines at the same time. There's the current version of you, the past version of you, the future you. And apparently the future you is driving this car and making this amount of money in a happy relationship, traveling the world, right? Because hence I already have it. So borrow from your future self. Have conversations with your higher self and say, hey, I don't have it. I need to borrow from my future bank account, and do a meditation. I promise you it works. Do a meditation and see yourself handing yourself what you need because you already have it. The provision's already been laid here for you. You just need to claim it. And I know this sounds crazy, especially when you're in the need of something. But Reverend Ike sounded crazy when he came out. And here we're all in 2025. This man was preaching this in the 60s and 70s. Do you know how crazy they looked at Reverend Ike? For him to say, you can have it if you want it. Money is you just call it in the 60s and 70s. But was he wrong? No. Future version of Reverend Ike was playing on millions of screens all over the world. Translated into languages all over the world. We're watching him on YouTube in 2025. He knew he was wealthy. He knew he could pull that in, and people doubted him, but was he wrong? Are we not feeding off of his understanding now? So just because somebody doesn't believe that you can do it, just because somebody doesn't think it's possible, doesn't mean that it's not possible. Everything looked impossible until the first person did it. Everybody was sitting on the ground till somebody built a chair. Hey, Jay, go build a chair and sit down somewhere. You don't have to have an amen corner. Your calling was not a conference call. This was between you and the divine. This was between you and source. The reason why you want it is because you're supposed to have it. Quit letting your circumstances make you doubt it. And that's easier said than done. I'm not even going to lie to you. Because I remember the time asking, praying, trying to figure out which way to go to get some of the things that I have now. And it seems now it's like, oh, great. Oh, great. She's a mom. But we don't talk about the 10 years that I wanted to be a mom. And I cried every Mother's Day, and I was depressed and I was sad. And I was like, what is wrong with me? Why is this not happening? Now knowing on the other side that there was a reason for that, and there was a level of understanding that I had to come to in order to even raise this soul, because she's not an average regular kid. Like, I can't bring because I told you so. She don't listen to that. It's not going to work. So there was a level of spiritual understanding that I had to come to in order to even be gifted this soul. But for years, 10 and a half years, everybody was like, yeah, you're going to have a kid. Da, da, da. Every reading, oh, you're going to have a child. Da, 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 da. Where? I got a dog, but where? You mean a human child? Somebody make it make sense. And then out of nowhere, after Spirit got me to a level of understanding. So just because the environment didn't look like it's going to happen doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. If Spirit told you it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I can only tell you this because I've been there where nothing resembles what you told me it's going to look like. Nada. Not a darn thing. My bank account don't match what you said. My car didn't match what you said. My life don't look like what you said. But I'm a believe. But it's not blind belief, right? Because blind belief is dangerous. But it's belief in knowing because you've seen other things that they've told you come into fruition. And so now we do the work to help aid the manifestation coming forward. We'll meditate on it so that it becomes comfortable to us, because then our system, our nervous system becomes acclimated and ready for it, so that when we receive it, we can keep it and we can handle it. That's how you hear about people who win the lottery, right? They won $50 million and they broke in 7 years because their nervous system was not ready to maintain that type of energy, because money is energy all day. And if your nervous system isn't able to handle that, you're going to overload, you're going to overspend, you're going to give to everybody and then be left with nothing. Because if you are used to a lack mentality, I don't care what your bank account says, you're still going to end up in lack. You can't just ask for the money, you got to ask how to maintain it. Program my nervous system to handle it. Money is energy, and it's a lot of energy that then produces responsibility and power. And if your nervous system is not ready to handle that, when that money hits, problems. That's why they always say money is a real mirror, right? It shows you who someone is. If they drank too much, they're going to drink themselves to death. If they party too much, they're going to party themselves to death. If they couldn't control their spending, they're going to spend it all. So that's where the shadow work comes in. We go in and doing this stuff. Thank you, Alexander. That's when we go do the shadow work, so that when the stuff comes in, we get to keep it in peace. Because I want to keep mine in peace. I don't want to worry and be looking over my shoulder and wondering this, that, and the third. I just want to enjoy it, right? And so in order for that to happen, we got to go do the shadow work to figure out where our hang-ups are, our trip-ups are, so we can fix those over time. And it's not about being perfect, but it's about being aware. I know where Keisha's faults are all day. Look at the celebrity. Yeah, you've got to be self-aware. It's not about perfection. You got to know where your hangups are. So when you see that thing coming, you can be like, I don't have the maturity for that. Like me, I tell y'all all the time, I am petty LaBelle, right? I know me. That's a part of my shadow work that I'm constantly working on. Girl, don't do that. Go sit down. You about to be overly petty. That is unnecessary. Hey, Michelle. Don't do it. Keisha, go, Drink your water. Even my child is realizing that. I was on the phone with someone the other day. Yes, delete that text. Valid. I was on the phone with someone the other day. She's standing up behind me. We're about to go in the store. And she just whispered in my ear, take a deep breath. I was like, yeah, because you know mama was about to... She already know. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. You catch me the next time. And you're here now. The overly petty, that's me too. I understand, Jay. And it's funny, she's only been here for 4 years and she's catching on. She's like, yeah, take a deep breath because you're about to say the wrong thing. I absolutely am about to say the wrong thing. Yeah, so you got to know where your hangups are so that you can handle the manifestations and know that they're coming. Okay? Know that they're coming regardless of what it looks like. As long as you see it here and feel it here, you're going to experience it here. I can promise you that. I've seen it happen too many times out of thin air where I'm like, wait, what? Then you go back and look at the way the thing lined up. You're like, there's no way. There's no way. That had to be destined for me. Because if it wasn't, how did this happen? So many things. So many ways. Well, come on, girl. I think you already have one that's paid for. So don't go purchase nothing, Michelle. Because I think you got a credit right now. So whenever you're ready, let me know. But yeah. So y'all, if you don't get anything else out of this live today, make sure that you are setting your spiritual protection. You're using your discernment when it comes to who you choose to work with. Don't even realize it until afterwards and you just look back. It's very true. And make veneration a relationship. And I do mean a relationship. Kick it with your folks. And you do not have to be at the altar. There are spirits. That's when I hear people being like, don't put your altar in your bedroom because they're going to see da 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 da. And I'm like, first of all, your grandma, aunties, and them, they do not care to see you in that manner. Okay? Ain't nobody coming in your bedroom, period, when you're doing that. If your bedroom is the only space you have, honey, set it up there. If the only place you can set it up is in the top drawer, that's what you do. Spirits do not need a door. They're spirits. Like, that's why I was like, don't sit in your bedroom, honey. They go where they want to go. It don't matter. But when I say make it a relationship, yes, you said, and don't. When they say it's a relationship, I mean, you sitting on the couch, you think about an ancestor, say something out loud if you're by yourself. If you're not by yourself, say it in your head. People gonna think you're crazy. You better tell them, y'all just excuse me for a little bit, for real. Like they didn't do what you doing. How you think you got here? Anyway, make sure that you're building a relationship with them. You're acknowledging them when that crosses your mind. When they cross your mind, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, right? When you're eating, they're eating. When you take a shower, they're showering. When you drink water, they're drinking water. Don't overthink it. It's just a continuation of them. So continue to do that. Okay? I definitely do that a lot. Yeah. Me too, like constantly. Especially when I went to go see Sinners. I know for a fact my dad was like right there. That was his kind of movie. So yeah. Meaning when I think of them, I talk to them. Yeah, I do too. Like whole time I'm in the movies and I'm like, yo, dad, da 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 da. Like in my head, because I know he was like, girl. So yeah, you've got to do those things. Give us your take on Sinners. So I'll tell you this. Because everybody, and I'm not going to say everybody, but a good 10, 15 people didn't ask. There was so much in that movie. Some, my ancestors has been like, yeah, you could say that. But most, they're like, that's not for the general public. And I keep saying I'm going to do a breakdown and I'll email it out on my newsletter. So if you're a part of my, I'm not going to tell nothing on here. Jay said, wait, I'm going to see it tomorrow. Absolutely not going to give no spoilers. All I'm going to say is my people won't let me do it publicly because it's not general take. So if you are subscribed to get my newsletters, then you'll get it. Just know that it's transformative. If you're a spiritualist, you're going to love it. I watched it last, what was it? I've seen it twice. So yeah, it's good. You're going to enjoy it. How do you get in my newsletter? Send me your email address. I'll just add you because I don't know which free offer it's attached to. Because in my link tree, it's attached to, I think it's attached to my ebook, The Sovereignty. Now that I think about it, there's a free ebook, Sovereignty, which is about what your spiritual awakening is about. And when you sign up for that, then it adds you to my newsletter. And I don't know why I'm saying newsletter, like it's 1995, but my email, email list. I send you guys emails. Exactly, Tanya. Exactly. Okay. Well, you guys enjoy your weekend. Do not forget to do your first of the month stuff on tomorrow. There's a ritual up with the jar to make sure your bills are paid all month. Again, that's an across the board. Several of my students been using that for years. You can definitely do the cinnamon thing if you want to add a punch to blowing that cinnamon in the front door. Add you a little nutmeg and some instant coffee, and then specifically ask, right? Specifically ask for you what you want. If you know you're going to need $3,000, say $3,000 finds its way through this door quickly. Don't just say, oh, abundance and prosperity. Y'all need to start being specific. Yeah. You have a powerful day too, sweet Shiva. You are welcome. You guys have a great weekend, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.